1999 was the lead up. I actually signed the contract in 1999, and I had delayed entry. Until February of 2000. Now, I don't remember what made me do delayed entry. If I had to guess about why I decided to do that, it was because it was right after Christmas, New Year's, and I didn't want to spend Christmas and New Year's in basic training. So I think I just said, hey, just let me wait until February. Okay, so February in 2000, I left from my parents' home and I went to Columbia, South Carolina to start basic training. Fort Jackson, South Carolina. Because I wasn't combat arms, I was HR, human resources. That's the job that I chose. I went to basic in Columbia, South Carolina, right? Fort Jackson. So I left in February of 2000. They took us in a van up there and they just let us out what they call reception and integration. So reception and integration is where all of recruits came together, right? So there were other vans, buses, whoever. We all came together at reception. And this is where you in-process the Army. This is where you start to, you're not in basic yet, but you start to learn the basics. Wordplay. So you start to learn like how to get up, how to line up in formation. You semi march, but you start that routine of kind of getting up early, doing what you have to do as far as in processing, getting your name, getting your identification tags, also called dog tags, but that's not something that we use. Identification tags, your uniforms, you're going to get issued your Class A dress uniform. You're going to get issued your camouflage uniform. Please don't use the term fatigues. We don't use the term fatigues in the military. We use a uniform, and we have we call them ACUs, OCPs, BDUs back in the day, right? But we don't say fatigues. So you start that process of reception and integration. And I forgot how long that was supposed to be because mine lasted longer, right? So you start to wake up every day, you start to go to the dining facility, and you start to, eat the food. You just start to slowly go into the basic training mode, right? So that was Fort Jackson. I spent a little bit of time there. I actually spent more time there because you're supposed to go to reception and integration. You're supposed to pass a PT test, physical fitness, and then you go to basic. So you're supposed to meet these minimum requirements for push-ups. This is in 2000. Push-ups, sit-ups, 2-mile run. And each age and each gender has requirements that you have to pass in order to move on to start basic training. So ideally, you're supposed to have been working out with your recruiter if you were out of shape. I wasn't doing that because I didn't mention that yesterday. So I was out of shape. I basically just got up off of the couch as a 19-year-old teenager, and here I am at reception. So we take the PT test, right? I don't pass. I fail the run, okay? So what happens now is you have to go to what they call the fitness training unit, where you work out all day. Not all day, but you work out a couple times a day to get you in better shape to go to basic, right? So I had to do that. While I was there, there's other people there with me. I actually met someone, a girl that was there too. I forgot what her name was. I think it might have been Ashley. I don't know. I forgot what her name is. So I met someone there and we started kicking it. So the way relationships work when you're a recruit in the military, especially the Army, you see somebody you're not allowed to have relationships, obviously, right? So basically what you're going to do is when you go eat, Like when you're in line, those little moments where you can steal time together and be next to each other, that's when you do that, right? And you'll see why that matters as I go into the basic training story. So I met her in the fitness training unit. They call it fat camp, even though you're not fat. You're not fat, but you can't pass your PT test. So in the military, you're considered fat if you're not in shape, right? By default. So me and her started kicking it the only way that we could, which is, like I said, when we go eat, and when we're kind of like in formation, kind of just hanging out, you're talking. So how did that go? So we went through the fitness training unit, and you have to take another PT test. Obviously, you have to pass that one in order to move to basic training. So I take it again. I actually don't pass it. But because there's so many people, you're on a road and you run up and you run back. What they should have done is they can't do this. They can't do this. Why? Because there's so many different ages. There's so many different time requirements. And it's a shit show. I'm just going to call it like it is, right? To try to say these people passed, these people failed. And again, this was in 2000. So I'm not even going to say it's as organized as it is now, because I haven't been back there. I don't know. But there's no way. So for those who don't know, if you're male, you have different requirements than females for the run time, right? To be back by this time for you to pass. And then within males and females, you have the age range. I think it was like 18 to 23, 24 to 26 or 28 or somewhere in there. And then like a couple years for 30, a couple years for like 32 to 35, 36 to 39, 40. So all of those have different time requirements. So when I come back across the line, I fail because I know the time I need to be back in. But the person who's grading me doesn't necessarily, they don't know me and they don't know when I cross the line, right? But I'm just in the back of everyone and I'm young, I'm 19. So my time is a little bit up there. I think it was like 16 something, 16:30, 15, maybe in 15:25 or something like that, right? So what happens is I come across the line and the chick that I was talking to, like, involved with, she is taking the test too. She passes. And so once we're all done, everybody's finished, they come through and they say, hey, if you passed, move to this side. If you didn't pass, you move to this side. I think she knew that I didn't pass because I remember vividly her like looking at her as I moved to the side of the people who passed, right? So they said, if you passed, move to this side. If you didn't pass, move to that side. I said I passed, so I moved to the pass side, and I just gave him a time that was a passing time. He wrote it down, and off to basic I go, right? So that's first and foremost. So I ended up going down to basic. Now, when people see on basic on like YouTube and stuff like that, when you see like people getting off the bus and you see the drill sergeants yelling at people like, hey, get off the bus, go, go, go. This is what I'm talking about. That is the start of basic training. When you've left the reception area, you've already in process the military. They have you and your second born kids in your will and everything, right? They have all your information. You've gone through the lab, the medical, everything. Now your basic training is starting, and it starts when those drill sergeants get on the bus and say, get off the bus, move, move. And it's just chaotic, right? So that is true. They do that to cause chaos. And we're just stacking our bags everywhere. They're yelling. One drill sergeant comes through and says, hey, turn to the right, go to the left. And then when you turn to the right and go to the left, another drill sergeant says, what are you doing? You're messing up. So it's just chaotic, right? They're just yelling just to yell. I know that now because I'm on the other side of that. So that's what happened. So I ended up going to Charlie Company, a 3rd platoon. I was a gunslinger. We have mottos called mottos. I was a gunslinger, 3rd platoon. So I almost get kicked out of basic. Basic is cool. Like I said yesterday, basic is integration. You're taking people from all walks of life, people from some other countries too, right? Other countries. You're taking people from the country, people from the city, people from Nebraska, Florida, New York, Canada, California, Texas, South Dakota, Arizona. You're taking all these people and putting them together in one platoon of about 32, right? Young, old, we don't know anybody's ages. We don't know anything. We just know we all signed up. Yes, my dumb ass signed up. Okay. So here we are, basic 9 weeks. I had issues because I'm an attitude-filled 19-year-old. Drill sergeants are there to assert authority. That's why the hat is there. That's why they wear the hat low so you can't see their eyes. And so while they're looking at you, my eyes are straight ahead like this and I can't move, right? Because that's the position of attention. And so drill sergeants all around me with their hat low and hitting me right here and stuff like that. It's all meant to assert authority. And I don't want to say brainwash, but to get you into the military mindset, right? When we say go this way, you go that way. How to follow orders. When you say go this way, you better go that way and show effort in going that way. And I'm not gonna say I had a problem with that, but I've always understood, or I always thought of myself, I'm not a robot, right? I'm a human. I will do that, but just don't be disrespectful to it. And everyone's level of disrespect is different, right? So what you might deem disrespectful, I might say it's okay. And what I deem disrespectful, somebody else might say, hey, it's okay. And so that's where we had the clash, right? Again, as a recruit, you don't have a lot of say so. You don't have any. Let me just put that out there. You don't have any. You're supposed to do what they tell you to do and shut up. Shut up and soldier at the end of the day. I'm a good soldier because I have leadership qualities, right? And once I want to do something, I will do it. But the hard part for any leader is giving someone that motivation to do it. And where your leadership skill shows is when you can get the best out of somebody, right? That's what leadership is all about. A little inside nugget here. All leadership is understanding, how do I get through to a certain individual to get the most out of them? How do I get them to want to do more, right? It's harder than it sounds because everyone's motivation is different. People respond to different types of encouragement. Some people like to be coached hard. They like to be led hard. Like, hey, this is what you need to do. Go do it. Don't quit. Don't complain about it. And some people are just like, cool, you know what? Yes, I was acting like a punk. Let me just go ahead and lock in. Good looking out. And some people have to be handled a little bit softer with kid gloves. And they have to be, hey, what is your motivation for doing this? What are you still here? Why are you here? This is bigger than you. You made the decision to come here. Like, don't give up, right? And so you as a leader, you have to figure that out. There is a notion where leaders have to adapt to everybody. And there's another notion where everybody has to adapt to the leader. And so those are two fundamentally different thoughts. If I have a squad of 6 people, one person is telling me, hey, this squad has to adapt to your leadership style. So if I'm a direct leader, I say, shut up and soldier, suck it up and keep going. Everyone must adapt to that. That's one. Then there's people that say, no. You have a squad of 6. You as a leader must adapt to each different person if you want to be a great leader. And you can see the difference in that, right? So when you're in the military, you have different leadership styles. And some leaders don't give a damn if you don't get the most out of their leadership style because it's on you to get the most out of it. I know what I'm going to get from Felix as a leader. So I must adapt to that, right? And then you have some that's just leaders. You're obviously going to know which one I prefer. Leaders who care and who understand I have to get to know Felix and understand what drives him. And so then I play on that. I am of the notion as a leader, you have a fundamental basis, right? And then you adapt to the people that you're leading. That's how you are a great leader, because now your mental flexibility is higher. To me, it's a weak mentality if it's a one size fits all. I am who I am, right? We all have a fundamental foundation and a basis. Either you kind of care about people and you want to get to know them, or you kind of don't. You just care about the results, right? And that is going to be a theme throughout my career, because I'm a person where I want my leader to adapt to me. That's just, you can call it what it is, selfish, whatever. But if you want me to listen to what you're telling me to do, you have to get to know me. Like, a stranger is not going to walk up to me and just start giving me orders, telling me what to do. That's not how this works. And it didn't work for 25 years. And did that bite me in the ass sometimes? Yes, it did. Yes, it did. But I've also made some genuine connections and learned from some really good people, because you know what? They took the time to learn. But okay, so I had problems in basic. I digress. I had problems in basic. The good thing about the military is it loves leaders, right? We have this saying, if you're a rock star, that means you don't need much coaching, right? You're self-motivated. I can get it fucking done. Sometimes I just need access. Sometimes I may need a pick me up. Sometimes I may ask questions just because I'm self-aware. I'm always reevaluating. So you as a leader are telling me things about myself and how I can improve, but I already know that because I've already self-assessed, right? So for the most part, you can set it and forget it. I'm good. You just have to check on me every now and again, be available when I need you. And so that's a rock star. And I was a rock star in basic, but I came with an attitude. If you could get through to me, you're good. But if you can't get through to me, I'm stubborn as a donkey. That's it. That's the basis, right? So, there was friction between me and the drill sergeants. I remember vividly. I made it to squad leader. So I'm a squad leader, and when you're in training, leadership positions in training, squad leaders, platoon leaders, you know what I'm saying? But you're chosen by the drill sergeants to be in a leadership position. Sometimes when you fuck up, they switch you out. Like, oh, no, you fucking up. Get out of here. Next person. Sometimes when you're really good at it, they leave you there. Why? Because it's a little bit less work for the drill sergeant. And they have trust that even though you're a new recruit, you're still mature. You get it. You understand it. You got the it factor, right? You can smell someone with the it factor. When someone has the it factor. It's there. And so I had it, but I was a little bit of a prima donna. I was a diva. I was a wide receiver. I can catch passes. I give you 1,000 yards, but I come with attitude. You know what I'm saying? I when I get ready, when I don't feel like I'm getting what I'm supposed to get. So I'm squad leader. We just came back from a run. I don't like running. So they give us, after every run, because people are not used to hydrating, you have to drink a full canteen of water in order to leave to go upstairs to personal hygiene. Personal hygiene is just shit, shower, and shave, right? And you already don't have a lot of time to shit, shower, and shave. But those who can just down a canteen of fucking water, they're gone and they have the most time. Those of us who can't just chug, I can't chug a canteen of water. It's almost, what would I equate it to? A canteen is probably, it's not a liter, right? It's not, a canteen is not this big. So this is a half a gallon. And a canteen of water is not this much. It's less than that. But again, I'm tired. I'm winded. Right? I can't catch my breath. And you just want me to down a canteen. Personal hygiene is really important to me. So I'm not a person I like to rush personal hygiene. I want to get up there because again, the whole company of guys is up there. So we had the females on the second floor and the guys on the third floor. The building was cut in half. I lie. The building was cut in half. The females was on the left and the males were on the right, and the different platoons were on different floors, right? The court. Okay, a court. So I like personal hygiene. I got to get up here and I got to shower behind 30 dudes, shave behind 30 dudes, and shit behind 30 dudes, right? Behind 30 dudes, right? So the bathrooms, they have a pillar in the middle, and you just turn on the water and it's just shower heads all the way around. It's not like a locker room in the gym to where you have like a shower head or along the outside of the wall. It's one pillar like a fountain, and you turn on the water and the shower heads, right? So I'm tired. I'm struggling to breathe. I can't pound water like that. So I can't just chug a quart of water. And now I'm running behind for personal hygiene because all these people are in front of me, right? Even though some people don't shower and all that stuff the way they're supposed to, still. And the water wasn't scorching hot. It was like warm at best. And so I'm going to be left with cold water. So I got all those three things working against me. So as I'm drinking my water, hold on, let me switch to my mic. As I'm drinking my water, right? I'm standing there with the canteen, and I got the canteen in this hand. I'm drinking the water, and I'm drinking the water. So as I'm waiting to be able to like drink again, I do like this. Put my hand on my hip. And for some reason, that is a aggressive posture for drill sergeants. I don't know. Drinking water, boom. So everybody else is boom, 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 just chugging it down. I'm drinking until I'm getting ready to throw up, because you can't let the water drain down next on the sides of you like you're drinking fakely, right? And just wasting water, because then they're gonna make you fill it up again. So I'm legit trying to drink the water. As I'm waiting to like drink again, boom, I hit this number, right? And so we're standing outside and drill sergeants are in front of us and stuff like that. So boom, I'm not like staring at the drill sergeant. I'm not eyeing him down like he's a referee in the NBA. Nothing. Like I'm not even literally thinking about him. And so boom, I do like this. So he's like, oh, he loses his shit. And he's like, oh, you can't do that. Get your hands off your hips and stuff like that. I don't remember my reaction, but he didn't like it. Needless to say, he didn't like it. I never went back and forth as far as like talking and arguing with them. But I think because we had so many issues, well, they had issues with me, they switched me to second platoon, right? So I'm no longer in third platoon. They probably could have kicked me out, but I didn't. I was a rock star, so I was a good soldier. I just had attitude problems, right? And so, yeah, they didn't like that. So I got switched to second platoon. So third platoon were the gunslingers. Second platoon were the death dealers. So now I'm a death dealer. I got new platoon mates. I have to learn everything. I basically have to start from the bottom because, like I said yesterday, you have phases. You have white phase, which is we're all new recruits. We're just getting here. We're learning the basics. We're learning how to stand at attention. We're learning how to salute. We have classroom. We're learning ranks. We're learning all that different stuff. Formation. BRM. So it's like crawl, walk, run. White is crawl phase. We're babies. We don't really know shit. We're learning everything. Red phase is BRM. We do a lot of basic rifle marksmanship. We start throwing grenades. We start shooting different type of guns. We know a little bit. We're hitting our stride here because we've been here for about 3.5 weeks, a month or so like that. So we're good, right? So we're marching along. So basically, you know your platoon mates. You know who's the fuck up. You know who's the superstar. You know who's the person who's not good at PT. You know the person that's not good at marching, drill and ceremony. You know the person that doesn't shower. You know the person that just doesn't get it, that just gets in trouble, right? So basically, I'm going to a new platoon. I have to integrate myself because they have a pecking order. They have a hierarchy, right? That's how the military works. It's all a hierarchy, and you just have to find your place in the pecking order. So I have to start from the bottom. In 3rd platoon, I was a squad leader. We're practicing DNC with the rifles. Bow, bow. I'm good with DNC because I love drill and ceremony. I always wanted to be in the honor guard, but I never got a chance to. Anyway, so now I go to 2nd platoon. I'm a peon. I'm a peon, but I end up working my way up to being a squad leader because, again, I'm a rock star, and it shows. Even though I come with baggage, I'm still, when I lock in. But again, I'm a 19-year-old who's, flexing his own muscles. So it was, I'm not gonna say it was hard for me to lock in. I just didn't have a lot of motivation to lock in. Okay. So let me tell you a little bit about basic. Like I said, right? I got to 2nd platoon. I'm a squad leader. I'm good. I'm a rock star. The issues that started in 3rd platoon were because of the chick that I met when we were in reception, right? I was in Charlie company. She's in Bravo. So the way it's set up in basic are these when I went, there were buildings. And if you look at them in a line, it was Alpha, Bravo, we're in Charlie, and then Delta was behind us, right? So they're buildings. She's in Bravo company. I'm in Charlie. So we can't talk. I don't see her like that. So what was I doing as a 19-year-old? I was writing her letters because at that time we still got mail call because there was no cell phones. I was writing her letters and just putting the Bravo company address on it. I don't think I put a return address. I don't think I did that. My parents were living in Columbia. So I went to basic in Columbia, South Carolina. My parents were living there. So that was home for me. So what I think I did, I used their address and I was writing letters and sending them to her, right? And so she was writing letters and sending them back to me. That's how we communicated. In basic, we go to church on Sundays, right? The only reprieve you get is if you go to church services, right? A lot of us, weren't really religious, but that was the break we needed. We needed to get out of the company area. We got tired of the drill sergeants. We got tired of seeing the same people. We all went to church at the same time, Alpha, Bravo, Charlie, and Delta, because it was like a Protestant service, Catholic service, and different religion type services. So of course, the Protestant service, which is your typical Baptist Christian service, in the way of like the Pentecostals, the Methodists, right? What we know as church here in the United States under Christianity is the Protestant service. So that's where most of us went. And that's how we got to, like I said, we got that little time together, like 2 hours, but you sit next to each other because the drill sergeants don't have that power in the church, right? So we kind of just go in there, boom, and we can kind of sit next to each other. And that's for us, that was a big fucking deal, right? We weren't connected on Instagram and Facebook. It was one of those ones where we saw you, we communicated when we saw you, and when we didn't see you, there wasn't a lot of communication because we weren't connected that way. So that's what I did. I used church to go see her, and she went and saw me. So I'm sending letters to her in Bravo Company, and I don't know how they I don't know why someone would look at the postage, but someone looked at the postage. And I think what happened was it was stamped postage Fort Jackson, right? And then they started to, I guess, catch on, and someone asked the question of like if I was there. Even though we didn't have any physical community. Now that I'm talking about this, I'm like, why was this such a big deal? I guess because we're in training, you're not supposed to have relationships, but we didn't, right? So what if I just had a boyfriend? What if I had a boyfriend or girlfriend? I'm a girl or a boy, and I'm in training, and my significant other is in training too, right? We didn't have any physical contact. I just saw her, and they found out. And so it was a big deal. They pulled me into the office and stuff like that, and they were saying, "Hey, you're talking to this person in Bravo Company and all this type of stuff, and you know, we found the postage on the letter and stuff like that." I don't think that that's what happened. I think that they might have looked at the address, because I don't remember putting the letter in an actual mailbox. I don't know if that's what we did or not, but I think they looked at it and saw that it was going over there. They told me that they used the postage. So I was like, okay. But yeah, it was a big what to do. And we have this. So that was a big thing. It was just a big thing with me. I don't know what they did with her, right? So that was a big thing with me. And I don't think it was, obviously it wasn't something to get me kicked out, because we didn't like get caught having sex or kissing or something like that. We were just communicating. And I think that was just frowned upon. So what happens is, I have KP duty, right? In the military, KP duty is kitchen detail. What do you do for kitchen detail? You help the DFAC people serve food. You're in there and you're helping. You're not helping them cook, but you're like washing the trays, the cups, basically kitchen duty to help the DFAC, because you're free labor at that point. So I'm on kitchen detail, and like I said, drill sergeants, of course, they're friends, because, you know, even though they're in different companies, they communicate. We didn't know that at the time. We thought that they were all of their own fucking, like, they didn't communicate. That's what we thought, because we didn't know any better. So when you do kitchen duty, when you do KP, kitchen patrol, I think that's what it stands for, you serve breakfast, lunch, and dinner to the entire battalion. So the battalion is made up of Alpha, Bravo, Charlie, and Delta companies. All of those people, right? It's about 100 people per company. So, you know, a battalion is usually 400 to 500 people. So we have to go over there, you know, prep the kitchen and everything. They come through, they eat, and then afterwards we have to clean up and make sure everything's good. And then we go back for lunch, go back for dinner, right? I think that was on a rotational thing. I think that it wasn't weekly. It was just like a rotation. So after the thing comes out that I'm talking to this girl from Bravo Company through letters, mind you, I'm on kitchen duty, and she comes in. Bravo Company comes in. We're on kitchen detail. So of course, drill sergeants hating bring me to the front, because, you know, she's coming through now. She's in the line. They bring me to the front, and they're just like, oh, like, isn't this the person that you were talking to over in Bravo? Both of us are standing there, right? Isn't this the person that you were talking to? Isn't this like your girlfriend? They basically called us out in front of everybody. And it was just like, It was wild, man. It was crazy. So as a point to like shame, but I mean, I'm not ashamed. Why am I ashamed? Y'all just caught me sending letters, right? I didn't really see what they said she did wrong, but of course they're gonna call me out. I'm the guy. So that came to a head. They outed me in front of everybody, and and it was a big deal. It wasn't a how can I say it? It wasn't a what's the word I'm looking for? It wasn't like they were saying it in a bad way, like, oh, this is the person and you shouldn't. They were like, oh, isn't this the person you were talking to? Didn't you want to see her? Isn't this your girl? Like kind of mocking me, like kind of making a joke out of it, right? So I was like, all right, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, whatever. Y'all got it. Because I don't have any power at this point. So I got moved to second platoon. Second platoon. Again, I'm a rock star. It's not hard to be a rock star. You just have to shut up and soldier, right? And for a lot of us, that's hard to do, because even though we're in a place where they want you to be part of the team, you look alike, I'm still an individual, right? At the end of the day, that's the way I feel. I'm still an individual. So move over to the second platoon. We start to go, we're in BRM phase, basic rifle marksmanship. And then we go into blue phase, which is, hey, you're in the end game, you're going through, you're doing pretty well, and you're probably gonna graduate, right? But we start to bivouac, which is camp outside, sleep outside. And this is why I don't like camping today. So we start bivouacking, red phase into blue phase. So now we're out and we're going through the gas chamber. We are doing all of those kind of warrior tasks and drills to get you like qualified as a soldier and stuff like that. So this is when I moved to second platoon, again, we're thinking the drill sergeants don't communicate. Obviously they do, right? Because now that I'm older in the military, yes, they know. So I'm thinking the problems I had in third platoon with the drill sergeants in second platoon don't know shit about that, because that was over there, but they've been talking. So I'm in second platoon now, but these drill sergeants are hip to me, and they know probably if I'm speaking as a senior NCO now, I'm like, yo, he's a good fucking soldier, but he probably just needs a change of scenery, and make sure y'all like whip him into shape, keep him locked in. He's good, but he comes with some bullshit, right? That's what I would say. So that's probably what they said. So I become part of what they call the Magnificent Seven. The Mag 7. And what is the Mag 7 in basic training, which we were introduced to in the field, because now we're going on field exercises. We stay overnight, come back the next day. We're doing shit when we're just in the field. We're digging foxholes. We're learning how to we're learning how to react to contact. We're learning how to do patrols, just basic soldier-ish, right? So we were road marching through the woods, right? There's this tank trail, a trail of dirt that the tanks have cleared, and there's trees on the side of us. So we're just road marching through there. And all of a sudden, we're doing the gas drills. So they throw gas, and we have to, oh, no, I lie. We're doing react to contact. So react to contact is incoming. That's when you hear the whistling, like incoming mortar shells or rockets. And we got to get down, right? Incoming, and you hit the deck and you cover your head like that. So they did that to us, right? And you stay down until they give you the all clear. What they did to introduce us to the Magnificent Seven was, when we were down, Boom. They like yoked us up, right? So I'm face down with my hand covering my Kevlar, right? Somebody like grabs the back of my uniform and like yokes me the fuck up. So I'm like, yo, what's going on? Like, what's happening? Right? So I was like, what's happening? What's going on? He's like, shut the fuck up. Like, shut up. Like, what? Like, what are you talking about? Shut the fuck up. Like, be quiet. Right? So I'm like, yo, what's happening? Is this a game? Like, what are we doing here? This is what I'm thinking. Cause after he was like, shut the fuck up the second time, I was like, I mean, okay. Like, what are we doing here? So like they dragged me off into like the woods. And I'm like, what the hell is happening? So they lay me down, boom, right? I'm laying on, when we have our gas mask on we have it tied to our leg. So when you're laying down, your gas mask is like out to the side. So they lay me down and then I'm laying on someone else's mask on their side. So we're all like face down. And then someone else is laying on my side on my mask, right? So they're like, we're laying face down. It was like, shut the fuck up. Like, don't look up. Don't do none of that shit. Don't fucking move. Like, don't try to get like aggressive, because that shit's not gonna work. They're not, they're saying exactly what I'm saying. They're saying, shut the fuck up. They're saying fuck. And they're saying, don't move, don't do this, don't do none of that. Like, you're not gonna win, right? We know it's the drill sergeants, but we don't know like what's going on. So they're like walking around and they're like, it wasn't 7 of us, but they just called it the Magnificent Seven just because we were special. So they're like, you motherfuckers here are the ones that we have the most problems with. So you get a special treatment, if you will, to make sure that you keep your asses in line. And the more that you continue to get out of line and think that you run shit and think that you're in control, the more you're gonna get fucked up. We was like, what do you do? Like, you can't do this. Shut the fuck up. Like, we can do whatever the fuck we want to do, right? Because we're in charge and you're not. Like, I'm thinking like, you can't do this. Like, what are you doing? You can't do this. They're like, yes, we can. And we're doing it. Who's going to stop us? Like, who's going to stop us from doing this? Okay. So I'm like, I mean, true. So I don't know. I don't know whether cats are bugged out, whether they're going through just emotion playing a game. I don't know if they're tripping. I don't know. So they're like, yeah, like, so this is our Magnificent Seven. Welcome, because you've gotten your asses hemmed up to the point to where now we're going to take matters into our own hands. Either you're going to fucking get with the program, or we're just going to do whatever the fuck we want to do to you. And if you decide to get out of line, if you decide that you're going to tell or do something like that, we got something for you. Yo, like, I'm 19. This is new to me. So I don't know. We've heard stories about like drill sergeants smacking mofos and all that type of stuff. I think my dad said he was smacked one time or something like that too. So I don't know. Like, they didn't, at that point, they hadn't done anything but just like fucking manhandled me, because I was like 170. So I was really like then. So they're like manhandling me and stuff like that. Cause I'm like, yo, get off me. What are you doing? He's like, yo, don't fight. Don't do that. Don't do that, because it's gonna be a problem if you do that. I'm like, but you can't do this. Yes, we can. Shut the fuck up and just do what we tell you to do. All right. So I'm laying on somebody's gas mask. They're laying on mine. So boom, they throw the smoke like right on us. If you've ever seen pictures of people coming out of the gas chamber, like, you know, all of their nasal passages are flowing, like they are coughing and hacking. So they throw the gas on us. They don't say anything. You're supposed to say gas, so people know that it's gas, and you put your gas mask on. They don't say anything. So we just hear the and then like you start to smell it, right? Because it's a really distinct smell that starts to just like kick your nasal passages ass, basically. So we're just like, what the fuck? Like, what the fuck is that? So we start to smell like the gas. We're like, oh shit, it's gas. So everybody is trying to like get their mask. But as you're trying to like get yours, you're leaning on the person to you. You're leaning on theirs, right? Because you have to, I'm face down. So I have to like turn a little bit in order to get my mask. But again, someone is laying here. I'm laying on their mask. So I have to turn in order to like get into mine. And so that just screws the person next to me. And that's what they knew. So we're fighting to get our mask on and shit like that. We're fighting to get it on and stuff like that. Meanwhile, everybody's coughing and hacking. We don't know where the rest of our company is. We don't know because they dragged us off into the woods. And it was like, again, we're bivouacking. We're staying overnight. So it was getting to be dusk when they snatched us up. And now it's like dark. You know what I'm saying? So we don't know where everyone else is. Motherfuckers, because that gas is kicking our asses and we're trying to get our mask on, right? So they're just like, see, this is what we're talking about. We can bring you out here. Like, this is while the group of us are just hacking and coughing. See, we can bring you out here anytime we want to. And this is what we'll do. You continue to act like you run shit. This is going to be what happens, right? It was just a chaotic scene, right? We're trying to get our mask on. We're trying to get out of the gas, all of that stuff. None of that's happening. So we're getting just effed up by this CS gas. It was crazy. So that was the introduction to the Magnificent Seven. It continued to happen, right? They would just drag us off in the middle, not in the middle. Once training was kind of like died down a little bit, they would just drag us off and just keep reiterating that. Another instance I remember for me specifically was, again, I did something in formation, right? We were standing outside the dining facility. I did something. And the drill sergeants told me, he was like, hey, go into the building and take a battle buddy and go into the building and head like to the shower, right? Because what they would do is they would smoke us, make us do push-ups and sit-ups and like push-ups, sit-ups, run in place. We call it smoking for those that don't know, because you get tired, right? So instead of like hitting you and punching you and all that type of stuff, they just make you do exercises until you get tired, right? They just wear your ass out. So you get smoked. So what they was doing to the Mag 7 is we would do ours in the shower, right? So boom, you go into the shower, they turn the water on, you're doing push-ups and sit-ups running in place while water is fucking flowing all over you, all that type of shit. So my uniform weighs like 10,000 pounds because I'm doing push-ups with it full of water, boots and stuff, like all of that. So he told me, he was like, all right. He was like, go in the shower. You know what I'm saying? Like, well, I'll meet you up there. So, you know, I got too much swag. So he was like, no, don't let me beat you there. So I'm like, all right, cool. Like, drill sergeant has to stay here with the platoon. So I'm just walking and walking into the building. All of a sudden, right, as I'm walking, I hear, he's coming. Like, all the people in the platoon are yelling at me like, yo, run, he's coming. He had given me a head start. So I remember like it was yesterday. I'm walking, and once I hear them yelling like, you run, he's coming. I turn and I look like behind, like, what the fuck are they yelling at? Drill sergeant is in a full-on like sprint coming right at me, right? I remember the look on his face, like he wasn't right behind me, but I can still see his face to this day. He was in a full-blown like sprint coming right at me. So I had to like, oh shit, I had to run and like beat him upstairs, right? So yeah, he smoked me in the shower. Unfortunately, I had a battle buddy who wasn't in the part of the Mag 7. He ended up getting smoked too. So that's one of the things too. You always have to have a battle buddy just in case someone wants to make a claim of some bullshit happened. So he made me take a battle buddy. He had to unfortunately do that. My fault. I forgot who he was, his name, but you know what I'm saying? My fault. You got caught up in that. So I was part of the Mag 7. You know, we get pulled off, we get hemmed up, jacked up. They never like hit anybody, none of that stuff. But you know, they kind of just restrained you, almost like you were like under their fucking, I don't want to say hostage or nothing like that, but just we own you type deal. You know what I'm saying? Throwing you around, throwing you to the ground, like stuff like that. So we got special treatment. And I never told anybody about that because I don't know. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know why I never said anything. Probably because it wouldn't have done any good. I wasn't scared, but I'm scared in the sense of, you know, these are drill sergeants and you know, they have that control. So what really can I do at that point? So that happened. That continued to happen. So in second platoon, like I said, I'm a rock star. I started from the bottom. I move up to squad leader because you can't keep talent down, right? That's just what it is. So I move up to squad leader, and I'm a huge DNC fan. I love drill and ceremony. I like the honor guard. I like the silent platoon from the Marines. I like all of that. So we were training for a DNC competition. First, you would have to have the competition within the company, and then you would pick a platoon to represent in the battalion. And so third platoon was really good. The platoon I came from, they were really good. And second platoon wasn't as great with the tricks and, you know, the rifle swings and the rifle turns. We didn't have as many. So we end up losing to third platoon. And that just crushed me because I knew that I was part of that because I started when I was second platoon, third platoon, we started training for the DNC. So I knew the moves. I knew what they were going to do. And so to lose the DNC competition to them, you know, I was highly upset. And so the people that I was cool with in second platoon, like, you know, they knew that really bothered me because like I felt like I was a part of that and I didn't get to share in that win. And I think they went on to win the battalion. If not win, I think they came in second. They were really, really good. And so it always bothered me that I wasn't a part of that. Yeah. So that pretty much was basic training. It was pretty standard, except for, you know, being part of the Magnificent Seven, getting caught fraternizing with a female in another company. So I made it through basic. They could have kicked me out. I was probably close to being kicked out, but I made it. I made it out. I made it on the other side, obviously, right? Because I ended up retiring. And so again, I was HR, and the AIT, Advanced Individual Training. For those who don't know, you go to AIT after you finish basic training. You go to AIT to get training for your specific job. So how it works is basic training is general soldier training, right? You do the soldier stuff. One size fits all, everything that the Army requires soldiers to know. And so that's where you do that. You start to, you know, shoot your first rifle. We don't call it a gun. It's a rifle or a weapon, right? And you start to learn the Army style, the Army culture, a little bit of history, and how to march properly, how to, you know, be a soldier, right? Advanced Individual Training, AIT, is where you learn your specific job. So everybody in the platoon, everybody in the company, they're not doing the same jobs. Some people are doing medical, some people are doing intelligence, some people are going, you know, to be, I don't know, whatever, truck driver, petroleum specialist. So they go to whatever base they're supposed to be going to for their individual training for their specific job. So again, I was human resources, and it's the Adjutant General Corps. And Fort Jackson, South Carolina is the home of AG, the Adjutant General. So all of your human resources jobs go to training there. You do your initial training, which is your advanced individual training there. And then you go back for like your more higher level leadership training. It's done at Fort Jackson. So basically, I got on a bus and I traveled a mile down the street. Some people were going to Virginia. Some people were going to Arizona. Some people were going to here in San Antonio. They were just going different places. I was going right down the street. And so I started AIT in April. So that's my basic training, right? So I went to HR. It was, like I said, when I signed up for the military, I told them, hey, I don't want to sleep outside. I don't do that, right? I wanted air conditioning in the summer. I get hot really quick. And I want heat in the winter because I don't like being cold. I want in the middle, like right here. Perfect. So AG. And then I'm 19. Well, I was 18. I wanted, where are the women at? I don't want to be infantry. I don't want to be in a tank unit with a whole bunch of dudes, right? I don't want that. I want to be where the girls are, where they smelling good, looking good, feeling good. AG, human resources. Bet, sign me up. So here we are in AIT, and my class was 23 of us total, and it was 8 dudes. Bet. Cool. I'm with it, right? AIT was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun. This is where, so we have to, in basic, you don't get to leave. You don't get to leave at all. In AIT, as you start to achieve different goals, get to different levels, you can leave the base, on Saturday, you can leave the base and then come back. And then you have where you can leave on Saturday in your regular clothes and come back. Then you can leave in your regular clothes, stay the night, and then come back. And then you can, back in 2000, we were able to leave Friday after training. Like when you got to the end of AIT, you were getting ready to graduate, you were able to leave on Friday in your civilian clothes and not come back until Sunday, right? That was, man, so you've saved up money for 9 weeks, which is basically 2.5 months of pay, because we didn't really buy anything when we were in basic, just haircuts, and those were like $6, right? So here it is, we have all this money saved up, and what we doing? We going off base, we hitting the telly, we hitting the mall, we chilling, right? So before I started AIT, I was in a holding pattern. We were waiting on more people to kind of come to fill the class up. So I meet 2 chicks, 2 females, 2 girls, 2 women who were there already, and they're also waiting to start the class. So we end up being in class together, right? So naturally, I got much riz. I got much game. I thought that they were really good friends, right? Because I met them together. I think they were in basic together. I think that's where they met. And because they had spent time together, they might have been friends, but come to find out they weren't really good friends. So, I started talking to one of them, and me and her pretty much kicked it for most of AIT, right? And me and her got on the fritz. We weren't kicking it anymore. And then I started talking to the other one. I don't know how that happened. But I started talking to the other one, right? And so the first one really had beef with that. So they started beefing about that. And I was like, I thought y'all was cool. But then the second one was like, nah, we not cool like that. Like, I just know her. I met her from here. So AIT was really easy. What we did, we did a program called Mavis Beacon. And what we did was we learned how to type, right? You had to type a certain amount of words a minute and stuff like that, which that shit doesn't mean anything because I really didn't do any typing like that when I got to the job. But they expected you to do like secretary work, like memos and stuff like that. So we did a lot of Mavis Beacon, learning how to type really quickly. That was a lot of the experience that I had with keyboards, because I don't think I took a keyboarding / typing class until like senior year. So I wasn't really familiar with the keyboard like that. So yeah, we had a class of 23, 8 dudes, and I had a car, right? So you're not supposed to have a car when you're in AIT. You were supposed to at that time get a cab and a taxi and just, head off base to wherever you wanted to go. But I ended up having a car. So that was even better because my parents had moved to Columbia. So now Columbia was home for me. And, they lived 10 minutes away from the base. They would come, bring the car, and then, park it for me. So then on the weekends, I was good to go. I was straight. So AIT was great for me, man. I had so much fun in AIT. I felt like this is the way it's supposed to be. You know what I'm saying? Like there wasn't the drill sergeants in AIT were drill sergeants that were in the basic training, which were like, they were rah in basic training because they were new. But once you have done it for a little while, you get tired of it. Being a drill sergeant is what, like 3 years. And I think by year 3, you kind of burnt out because it's long hours. So what they do is they send you to AIT and it's less, you don't need to be rah because we've already made it through training. So it's more of a relaxed atmosphere, and you kind of just have to corral the cattle, if you will. Hey, this is where we need to be for y'all to go to class. Y'all are in class all day. Drill sergeants is chilling, like, taking care of our paperwork and stuff like that. Then we come back, and then we didn't have, like, the drill sergeants didn't have to give us classes because we got those classes over at the schoolhouse. See what I'm saying? So the drill sergeants in AIT were really chill. They ain't really want to see us. We didn't really want to see them. So we had a blast. I was good in AIT. I would have been honor grad, but like I said, I was 170 pounds. I couldn't do push-ups. I would max out at like 30, 35, 37. And I mean, that was passing. And when I was getting to 37, I was like rickety. I couldn't do anymore. So in order for me to get distinguished honor grad, I would have had to get higher on my PT test. At that point, I was better running. I was really good running, but I didn't have any strength because I was skinny. I was lanky. So doing push-ups like that kept me from getting honor grad. So I ended up getting commandant's list from the schoolhouse. Man, that shit was dumb easy. Like paperwork stuff is easy. I maxed most of the tests. I think I ended the class with like a 98 out of 100 average. Like it was really easy. So that's something I didn't get. I didn't get honor grad because of the PT test. I couldn't. I was really weak, really weak, and I wish I had done more push-ups to get better at them. You know what I'm saying? And I would have had that underneath my belt. So after AIT, what's supposed to happen is you're supposed to now go to your first unit, right? So I wasn't going to make it to my unit just yet. Again, like I keep saying, I'm not tooting my own horn here when I say this. I'm a rock star. I'm really good. So what I just said, I made commandant's lists, and they know that I was supposed to get higher, but my push-ups were shit, so I didn't get higher. So what they did was they offered me an opportunity to become what they call a drill corporal, right? So we have drill sergeants. You go to school, you go to drill sergeant school, and you get the hat, the brown round hat. You're officially like a drill sergeant. You're able to give drilling commands. So what they offered me was a chance to be a drill corporal. At this time, I'm an E3. So when I talked about earlier, reception and integration, where you get all of the new people, the civilians who are now waiting to go to basic training, where they got to get in process medical, you got to get in process like life insurance, you got to get identification tags, you got to get issued all of your uniforms, all of that type of stuff. The person who helps you do that usually is like an E5 or a corporal, like a real corporal, E4 corporal. They were short. So they said, hey, you can be a drill corporal if you want to. I was like, fuck yeah, I love DNC. And you're going to like promote me, but it wasn't a real promotion, right? they just took off my PFC rank and put corporal on me. I don't know how, I don't know how legal that was at that time. I didn't know, man. I was young. I had been in the military, a couple months, right? So they took off my PFC and they put on E4 corporal rank. So now I'm an NCO. I'm a non-commissioned officer, and I'm going over to reception, and now I'm in processing the new soldiers. You're technically not a soldier until you finish basic. That's what they said. I forgot what they were calling us over there, but they were calling us something, but it wasn't soldier just yet. So I'm 19 and I'm just, in processing new people into the military. So that's how I started. You know what I'm saying? So it was never hard for me. It was just I just didn't want to lock in the way that I should have all the time, just because when you're a rock star, you know it. You know when you have the it factor, like, yo, this shit is dumb easy to me. And I just came off of, like I said, coming up in a platoon and becoming a squad leader. You know what I'm saying? Like, obviously, I'm a lot better than most of y'all because I'm moving up. And then I just came off of AIT to where I just got commandant's lists. Like, nobody else got any accolades from graduating. I was the only one, right? And then, of course, I had the ladies. I had the ladies while I was in AIT. So I'm like, my confidence is high. And y'all want to give me E4 corporal just like that? Just because I did a good job? Hell yeah. Sign me up. I'm with it. So naturally, I didn't start to beef with them. I think they started to beef with me because, again, I've always been a confident / arrogant dude. I got it tattooed on my arm right here, right? Confidence / arrogance. I've always been that way. And so, because I know what I can do, like, I know what I'm capable of, you know what I mean? And so people like humbleness. People really appreciate that. I'm not an arrogant person to where I throw it in your face. I'm not like, hey, look at me, you peon, I'm better than you. You're beneath me. I'm never like that. But I carry myself with, I know what I can do. I know what I can't do also. And so you're not going to deter me from that. And if you want me to I know, but I can always I'm not going to do that. Yes, I did that. Like that. I'm Himothy. I'm him. And so when I carry myself like that, people get upset. And so that's what was happening there, because, they didn't, what is happening? Okay. They're out like cutting my grass all of a sudden, like, bro. So what happened is people start to feel that way about me. And it's just like, I'm not discrediting what you guys are doing. Why are you trying to discredit what I'm doing? You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not gonna ever stand for that, because too many people, and I'm gonna highlight this throughout this episode, but throughout this series, too many people stand behind the rank as it's who they are. No. It's what you are. You're a rank, and that's temporary. So they started to say like, oh, it's not real. They still wanted to have ownership over me and tell me what to do. So they wanted me to be the low man on the totem pole. But again, like I just said, I'm coming off of a championship season. To me, like, I was doing it. I don't know what y'all are doing here. Like, I don't know, but I know what they was telling me over here is like, I was doing the damn thing. So I'm not going to come over here and now kiss the ring. I'm not asking you to kiss the ring. I'm just saying I'm doing my thing. Why can't you appreciate that? So we had a little bit of beef because they were, in fact, corporals. They had orders. They were, they had achieved that goal. And I think there was some resentment there to where I was wearing the rank, but I hadn't earned it yet. They just gave it to me because they were short on people. So there was a little bit of beef there. And, motherfuckers like, oh, it's not real. It's fake. It's made up. Motherfuckers on my collar. So somebody thinks it's real. You may not, but I do, and whoever gave it to me does. And they expect me to carry it like that. So that was like internal stuff. And I think that had to do a lot with my age. I'm 19. And I just, I've always been a swaggy G, a swaggy dude. And so some people can't appreciate that. So I was beefing a little bit with them just trying to marginalize me, but I never let that get me down. So I finished that in August. Got an award for that because I did a good job, of course. I actually came back home. Well, not came back home, but I never left. I actually went into Columbia to do hometown recruiting. The basis of hometown recruiting is where you've made it through recruiting. Oh, you've made it through basic and AIT. So now I'm a soldier. I'm fully trained, right? Fully trained in the soldier basic skills and in my individual job. So now I'm full-fledged, right? I'm 100%. And now they want you to go back to your hometown, your home area, your high school, your friends, and try to get more people to join. I don't know if they still do hometown recruiting. But the problem for me was my parents moved to Columbia, but I didn't know anybody there. So there was really no reason for me to do hometown recruiting because I didn't know anybody. So it was pointless. So I started to go back and do that. And I got to the recruiting station and I told them, I was like, hey, I don't know anybody here. So yeah, 'cause I think I signed up for hometown recruiting when I signed up for the Army. So it was already like locked into my contract. So I had to go. And then when I got there, they were kind of like, yeah, we really can't use you because you don't know anybody. So it'd kind of be pointless. And I was like, yeah, you're right. So then I ended up going to my first duty station in September. This was the 101st Airborne Division in, what is that? In Fort Campbell, Kentucky. There it is. In Fort Campbell, Kentucky, the 101st Airborne Division. 101st Air Assault Division. I'm sorry. I made that mistake. The 101st Air Assault Division, Fort Campbell, Kentucky. First duty station, right? And mind you, I said that I wanted to, and when I signed up for my job, I said that I wanted heat and I wanted AC. And I wanted to be where the women are. So I go to my first duty station and it's an infantry unit. It's an infantry unit. At that time in 2000, we weren't integrated in the infantry. So it was 100% dudes. It was a brigade. That was 1st Brigade. No, it was a battalion. So the battalions, 1st Battalion, 2nd Battalion, 3rd Battalion, all of them are 100% dudes, right? So 500, 1,500 dudes. Awesome, bro. Awesome. And what do? The infantrymen, they love to go out to the field. They love to go out and camp and walk around all day, shoot guns, do that type of stuff. So what happens is we end up going to the, we call it the field, which is when we go and we camp out, live in the woods, because they have to do training. I don't have to do training because I'm a human resources specialist. So I need the computer, I need papers, I need organizers, I need staplers, I need paper clips, I need computer systems. But what we did in the field when we were, out in the bush training outside, we basically did like personnel accountability rosters. When I tell you we were out there for like 30 days straight, bro, that is why to this day, I do not like camping. People are like, oh, what do you like to do? You don't like to camp? Hell no. No. I am not going to go and sleep underneath in the tent and do all that. No, because I got enough of that. I got enough using the bathroom in the woods. I got enough showering in an MRE box just because. There's a lot of people that don't like to shower in the military. Let me get that out the way, right? I've literally seen people work out in the gym, do PT, do physical fitness, come back to the locker room and just put on their regular clothes. We call that the fireman drill, right? Because you're putting your regular clothes over your workout clothes or just not showering. And these dudes don't mind that because they're out in the field for 30 days. They already don't shower when we're back in the barracks. So now they have a reason not to shower, smelling all types of salty and sweaty. I don't like that, bro. I don't like that. Never have, never will. So that was the loophole to where I'm still human resources, but I'm in a unit that does that type of training because I didn't know that type of stuff existed. So I will say this about the unit. It was infantry, but it was some of the coolest people that I have met in my military career, right? We had so much fun. We worked hard, but we played exceptionally hard. We went like clubbing. We went to Nashville. We had like barracks parties, people stealing people's significant other, because we had this thing where this is before 2001, before shit kicked off. Obviously, this is the year 2000. We the parking lot was across the street from the barracks, right? And so you had to park in the parking lot, and then you had to cross the street and walk across the grass. It's almost like a castle where they have to lower the drawbridge because there's a moat of water around it. So basically there's this walkway from the parking lot. Now, the barracks setup, it's a square, and in the square is just different companies and different battalions. So one building might be, a single battalion, first battalion. Another building might be second battalion. Another one might be third. There was a square, and there's probably like 6 or 7 buildings. It's 100% dudes. It's all guys. Because this was the infantry unit's barracks. It was all dudes. So this isn't the age of, again, AOL is just coming online. I remember talking on AOL in my barracks room and Yahoo and all that type of stuff. But it wasn't a thing like it is now. We were just kind of getting into it. So we would go out to the club. That's basically what we did, was go out to the club and go out to the mall and stuff to shop. And then we just meet people. We meet women. So everybody was doing that. So basically what it is you took a chance on inviting a woman that you met to your barracks room. Because again, she had to park across the street where we all parked our cars. And then she had to walk across the street and then walk on this sidewalk. Like I said, it's like a drawbridge to a castle. That's the only way to get into the building. And there is no security guard. There's none of that shit. It's just, she's walking into the building. You're telling her, this is my room number, XYZ. Man, there was people outside like all the time, and they didn't they didn't care. So they would holler at other people's girls. They would try to like pull them. When I say pull them, I mean like get with them and have the girl leave with them, not physically pull them. Chill. They would try to like get the girl to leave with them. Nah, F him. You don't need to rock with him. You need to rock with me. Come see me. Come hang out with me. When I tell you there was a lot of detours made, it was like running the gauntlet, man. You took a chance if you weren't out there to meet her, because it might not have been your friends. It might have been people you don't know. They didn't care. They just saw a chick and she was pretty. She was nice. So they're going to try to holler at her. And it worked. Did it always work? Obviously not. But sometimes there was a detour made and she didn't make it to where she was going. Or she would continue to go to where she was going, but she would come back to see the other dude. Like, that shit happened. And it was dog eat dog. It was crazy. Like, the barracks life is insane. Why? Because you live with a stranger. Like my first roommate, he didn't like to shower. So again, he was an infantry guy. It was 2 of us in the room. We had like a kitchen, uh, a refrigerator and a bathroom, which was cool. I didn't want to share a bathroom with like 1,800 people, but sharing a bathroom with one guy was cool because he didn't use it anyway. He didn't shower. He just changed his clothes and left. So I was like, all right, cool, whatever you want to do, bro. Like, he wasn't like extra stinky. I don't remember him being like, yo, bro, he's so stink, it's ridiculous. I don't remember it being that way. But I just remember because we all did PT at the same time, 6:30 to 7:30. So when you come back in after 7:30, the infantrymen did PT. That's what they did. Like us HR guys, we kind of like winging it sometimes. Sometimes we did it, sometimes we didn't. So I just know when a motherfucker come back in sweaty and then he lay down in his bed for a little while because we didn't have to be to work till 9. In that time, 7:30 to 9, you go eat at the DFAC, come back, shower, and then you go to work. That was the routine, right? Because I was walking to work. It was literally like not even a quarter mile. And so he just come in with his tray sometimes from the DFAC, lay in his bed for a little bit, get up, change, and then leave, like not even showering. So it was 2-man rooms. It was like 3 floors. And like I said, it was like 6 to 8 buildings, and it was just full of dudes. It was crazy. So it didn't you didn't always make it to what you had set up. So my first day in the unit, again, when I went to AIT, I went to AIT with, it was 8 guys. 2 of those guys ended up being in my first unit with me, but they were ahead of me because I did the drill corporal thing. So they were already ahead of me. And once they found out I was coming, they told people who I was and what I was about and stuff like that. So my reputation preceded me. They knew I was him. But I was on some bullshit. I was an arrogant, cocky dude. They knew that. So my first day there, I'm at PT formation, 6:30. And again, it's all dude unit. This is 2000. So a lot of the inclusion and the way that people talk now and are more sensitive, they didn't give a fuck back then. And it was real. So he's holding this stop sign in his hand. It's a legit red stop sign. And he's like, hold on. I got an issue before we get started with fucking formation today. One of you motherfuckers standing here ruined my sign. Like, one of you motherfuckers standing here hit my sign, tipped it over, broke the motherfucker, and now you just drove off. You didn't do shit. Like, you didn't do anything. So I need to know who the fuck that was. Like, this is how he's talking to everybody. This is my very first day. And this is the first sergeant, old, like hardened white guy. He had to be in his 40s, like infantryman. So that's how they talk. And I was just like, is this what this is all about? This is gonna be a long ass time here. So that was my introduction. It was fun, man. That was 2000. And I just, I started my time there at my first duty station in September. I had 3 black NCOs that was in the office with me, all pretty dudes, meaning that they like to be clean and they like to look good too. So I was in heaven there because my leadership embraced what I embraced, which was, looking good, feeling good, smelling good. And I had an E5, E6, and E7. The 5 and the 7 were married, but the 6 wasn't. So he was a ladies' man too. He would just tell us stories about all of that stuff. And it was great, man. That's one of, outside of it being a unit where we went to the field for fucking 30 days. We went to JRTC in Louisiana, and we were down there for 30 days, but we were only in the field for 10. Outside of that, like, it was a really good unit. It was a really good time. I was 19. I still had the Dodge Neon. It was green. I got it tinted green, and I got crushed velvet put on the dashboard. I was wilding. Like, I wanted to be Fast and Furious before Fast and Furious. But I wanted to be Fast and Furious before it was Fast and Furious, man. And I got all that stuff done to my car. I didn't have the money to do that. I didn't have any insurance. I was paying, I think I was still paying my dad for the car. because again, he had purchased it and I just was paying him back. I was paying him back. I remember my car headlights didn't work. I had to like hold them on because the light switch was messed up. I didn't have the money because, you know, I spent my money on going out. That was my priority at that time. I'm gonna keep it all the way 100 with you. I lived in the barracks. Only bill I had was internet. Only bill I had was internet and my car payment. No insurance. I don't remember paying for anything else. Like I didn't have any other bills. We went and ate at the DFAC. We didn't really eat out a lot. The DFAC was free food. It was pretty much as you wanted to eat. And it was just a routine. So, you know, all of us, we went as a group, you know what I'm saying? So because we had a tight knit group, when we went out, we kind of shared that load. It wasn't that much to get into to clubs. Might have been 5 at that time. Might have been. I'm not even sure. Might have been 5. So it wasn't even that expensive like that. And it was just cool, man. 2000 was a really good year. I got to spread my wings. I got to leave the house. There was no parents around, so I got to make my own decisions. And am I saying I always made the right one? No, because I didn't have insurance at all. So that wasn't the right decision. I just did up a form online, and and that was what was in my car. Once I figured out, like, hey, I thought when they ran your insurance, they actually checked something, but they don't. They just look at a sheet and make sure it's in. And I was just like, what? Like, that's it? Nah, let me just do this in my barracks room. And we good. So yeah, man, that's the year 2000. It was a really good year. I was spreading my wings. Everything was really working out. You know, I had hiccups here and there, but I think everyone in life, no matter what you do, you're going to take some L's here and there. But for the most part, you know, I got through basic. I got through AIT. Those were really fun times. I got to do a special program to start. And that was great too. And it was just so much fun. Because it was a lot of change. I realized that I'm a person who likes change. So from February, went to Colombia, and I was in Colombia until August. But, you know, even being in Colombia, I was changing and doing new things. There was always something to work towards. And then in September, going to Fort Campbell, Kentucky, Clarksville, Tennessee, for the very first time, moving away from home, you know, never to return, by the way. And that was just exciting. I mean, when I say return, I mean, I never moved back home. I've been back to visit. But yeah, that was a really fun time. And it was really explorative. And then I was on my way, 'cause I was still 19. I didn't turn 20 until December. So this was all a 19-year-old, man. Like I was off to a really good start. But that has been episode 2. We got at least 20 more to go. Episode 2 of the Quarter Century Soldier. Thank y'all for watching. And I'll see y'all in episode 3.